Yo guys, what is going on? This is Carnalbird5, and today I have another player review for you guys. We're going to be talking about the postseason flashback, Jon Lester, for the Boston Red Sox. Now before we get started, I do want to compare this one to the live series because there are actually very few differences between the two cards. Of course, one is a 93 diamond, the other one is a 90 gold. Now, scroll down here, we're on Daddy Leagues by the way. What you're getting from the postseason flashback, you're getting 5 less stamina, you're getting 5 more clutch, you're getting 17 more hits per 9, you're getting 10 more home runs per 9, and you're getting 8 less K per 9. So if we actually break that down to things that matter, the difference in 5 clutch I think is negligible. I don't really think that means much. Basically what you're getting is a plus 17 in hits per 9. Home runs per 9 doesn't mean much. So you're getting this plus 17 in hits per 9, but you're taking a hit in K per 9. You're taking a negative 8 hits in K per 9. The live series also has more stamina, which I don't think is too important in DD since a lot of people go to their bullpen and have stacked bullpens anyways, but it is what it is. So their pitches are exactly the same as far as break control and velo. I found that to be kind of disappointing. I figured the Jon Lester cutter could be better in the playoffs, because I remember, as a Cardinal fan watching that World Series, he had a pretty good cutter. And I feel like they could have bumped up his fastball maybe by a mile an hour or something. Just give him something a little bit different, He was a really good pitcher that postseason, so I was somewhat shocked that they didn't even change the pitch, the pitch break or pitch type or the velo or anything at all. But it is a diamond. He's a good pitcher. I have used him. So what we're going to have in this review is we're going to have some pitching tips and pitching practice, show you guys what his pitches look like. We're also going to have some gameplay tips as well, because I have pitched, I think I pitched 3 games of Lester. So, and by the way, before we move on, I do want to talk about, I guess I should say this, to get the Jon Lester, the Prime, you can either buy it straight off the market or you can get the rookie Lester. The rookie Jon Lester, last I checked, was going for about 17K if you put a bid in. I think you can buy him straight up for less than 30. And you only have to get 5 wins, which is super cheap. You can also buy the Prime straight off the market for about 30K, 30 to 36K. So this card is actually pretty cheap, pretty obtainable diamond in my opinion. So I think he is worth it. I don't know about the Gold Lester. He's probably less than 20K. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to pitching practice. Alright, so starting out, his four-seamer pretty much goes straight, so we're not going to show that. Starting with a cutter. Now his cutter has 67 break, which isn't bad. I still feel like it's a really effective pitch just because the pitch in general is really good on this game. But this is the break on the cutter. If you start in the middle, that's how much it's going to move. Really good late movement on the cutter as well. Now going to the sinker. The sinker doesn't have too much break. You're going to get, let's see, 46 break on the sinker, so it's not too much. But I just like the downward tilt of the sinker in general on this game. Another pitch I really enjoy, like the sinker and cutter, probably 2 of my favorite pitches on the game in general. But that's what a sinker looks like. Nothing crazy, but I found it was really effective online nonetheless. The next pitch, the sweeping curve, is his best pitch, I would say, if you're looking at break. It comes with 86 break, and this is what it looks like. A lot of movement to it. So if we start in the middle, about right here, that's how much it's going to break. So I would say that has a lot of movement, 86 break. And then finally, the changeup has 67 break as well. His changeup is going to come in about 83 miles an hour. It's not a bad changeup. It's kind of just enough difference between a changeup and fastball to make it somewhat effective if used in the right situations. But starting your changeup in the middle, this is what it's going to do. Pretty much going to drop straight down, maybe a little bit to non-throwing hand, but that's the movement. It's got just enough movement, I believe, to make the fastball effective. So those are his 4 pitches. Now, let's talk about facing lefties of Lester. There's a lot of things you can do with lefties. Like, I found myself using the sinker middle in a lot to jam them. Even with that late movement, if you guys watch my Arrieta or Syndergaard video, you guys would see I'm a huge fan of the sinker in on the hand. So I like to use that pitch quite a bit. Gets a lot of weak grounders. Now, I have played a few opponents that was able to successfully hit that pitch. I found the pitch that was really good at counteracting those type of hitters is the cutter in or cutter away. You'll get a lot of players to roll over if they have a quick bat. You throw that cutter middle away especially, or even low and away, or wherever you want to throw it. It'll look like a fastball starting about in here, and yeah, they'll swing over top of it and roll over. So the cutter can be in a really effective pitch. Really, guys, you can pitch it anywhere as long as you just spot it well and you set your cutter up with other pitches like the sinker, curveball, four seam. Now the fastball you can throw anywhere. Like if you're trying to set up your curveball, of course you want to establish the high end fastball. It's a good pitch. and the sweeping curve. Really, you can throw this pitch anywhere as well. What I like to do is I usually like to throw it straight down because it looks like a high fastball, high end fastball. But you can also try to get them looking here on the fastball, on the inner half, on the front door. That's a good pitch as well. And then you got the fastball changeup combo, which always works really well. I don't use it too much lefty on lefty, but it is there. I mean, if you throw a lot of sinkers and they start to adjust, or you throw a lot of four seamers and they start to adjust, just the changeup is enough to offset those pitches. You throw the changeup down, and it'll make your prior pitches look that much more effective. So, nonetheless, good pitch, good combo. Lefties, I feel like, are a lot easier to pitch to. But that being said, I feel like Lester, since he has that cutter sinker combo, he can be good against righties as well. So let's go ahead and pitch to him. Throw the four seamer up. Now this cutter way I really like against guys with quick bats. It has just enough movement. Of course, I hung that one. It's not a good pitch. And then we'll try the sweeping curve. And the high fastball. Lester has just enough oomph on his fastball too. Kind of like there is just enough oomph on his fastball. He can get up to 95, which is respectable. Still sinker on the hands. I'm swinging there. Alright, so let's get to a righty next. Now against the righty, I found myself kind of avoiding the sweeping curve. Every now and then I would try to use it, but if you want to use a sweeping curve, guys, you have to establish this fastball high and away. So if you establish that fastball, you can use a sweeping curve here and there. I wouldn't throw it too often. I would try the sweeping curve maybe once or twice a game backdoor to a righty. Every now and then you will get them. But that's kind of a pitch I tend to avoid against righties, that pitch right there. What I like to do against righties primarily is focus on the cutter sinker combo. Kind of similar to pitching with, I guess, Thor or Arrieta. So I like to throw the cutter in on the hands. I also like 2 to 3 times a game I'll throw the cutter backdoor as well as a sinker to get them chasing. So the cutter is a really effective pitch against lefties or righties. I love the cutter. Now the sinker, this is can be a dangerous pitch, but I found that, again, similar to Arrieta facing lefties with a sinker, I found this front door sinker to be very effective against the righties I did face. I even had a few people just looking at the pitch, kind of throwing them off. So even though it only has 46 break, the sinker in general is a great pitch on the game. And if you combine that with a cutter, really, those can be your two primary pitches against right-handed batters. And of course, you can go with a four-seamer and sweeping curve combo. And don't forget about the changeup as well. If you're establishing, low four-seamers, low cutters, whatever, make sure to mix in the changeup as well. I feel like Lester can be just as effective against righties as he can against lefties. So let's go ahead and show you some pitches. It's fastball away. Try the curveball down. His sweeping curve is really good, but it's just hard to get people to chase that pitch. There we get a ground out to the shortstop, but the sweeping curve is a really good pitch. It's more of a pitch to get people looking than swinging though. So anyways, those are my pitching tips and breakdown of Lester. Next we'll have some gameplay clips, so I'll see you guys then. So this first opponent right here, guys, he was a 1950 player. He had a good combination of righties and lefties in his lineup. But I did jump out to an early lead in this game, and Lester did a pretty good job keeping this guy in check. He was a 1950 player, so he had a really good rating. The cutter in really gave this guy fits. As you hear, 1-on-1 count. We throw a cutter in on the hands, get him to pop up in the infield of the first baseman. The cutter sinker combo was giving him a lot of fits. 2-1 count. We get a sinker away to a right-handed hitter, Matt Holliday. Then we come right back. Remember, keep him from the same arm slot here. We throw a sweeping curve down and in, get him to ground out. Like I said, I don't use that sweeping curve too often, but it is probably his best pitch. It's just really, really hard to throw for a strike in this game, especially with pure analog. The next batter, he has Cespedes in his lineup. We start off with a low changeup. We go right back to a changeup down. We go to a 2-0 count. The thing with Lester, guys, if you fall behind on the count, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal because a lot of people will get overly aggressive and you'll get them chasing that cutter or sinker and they'll roll over or get jammed. So here we go to a 2-1 count. Throw a cutter in on the hands. He's a little late on it, so we get to a 2-2 count. And we decided to go back to the sinker. Like I said, that cutter sinker combo was really effective with Lester. We get him looking there. Only call it third strike. And the next batter, he's got another right-handed hitter. We just start him off with a cutter inside, get him to pop out or fly out weakly to center field. So a lot of weak hits like that off Lester. I mean, he was really effective against righties. I'm almost tempted to say he's better against righties than he is lefties, but yeah, I don't know if that's completely true or not. But anyways, we start. This starts off with a 3-1 count. We throw a sinker down and away, get it to 3-2. We come right back with a cutter away. Like, that is a very effective pitch too. A lot of late movement. We got him a swing and a miss in there. He was late on it. That cutter away is an amazing pitch of Lester, man. I honestly think his cutter is probably his best pitch, even though it only has 67 break. Here against the lefty, we just challenge him, sinker in, get an easy pop up, and that's what I like to do against a lot of lefties. Is, you know, fastball or sinker in. Every now and then I'll do a cutter. Get him looking there on the 3-1 fastball. So my opponent was trying to take some pitches here. We come right back with a fastball, or actually that was a cutter in on the hands, but he's a little late and he flies out to left field again for another weak easy out. So Lester gets a lot of weak outs like that. His hits per nine really shows too. This next game, this was against a 1850 player. He had a lot of righties as well. He had a few lefties. I think he had Rizzo. I think both my opponents had Rizzo. I think this particular one also had D. Gordon Yogi, the one I'm playing right here. But 1-0 count, we come right back with a changeup down and in. He's looking for that cutter sinker and get to hit it just a weak dribbler there for my catcher to make an easy play. Now this next one's against D. Gordon. We're just gonna challenge him, sinker in, give him a lot of fits, and my catcher makes an amazing play. Wow, what an amazing play by my catcher there. Next batter, 3-2 count. We throw a sinker down and in. This is against Jose Bautista. Into the shift, he grounds out. So that sinker in on the hands is a great way to get ground outs as well. Here we got the bases loaded. We got one down, so I need to get myself out of a jam. Right here, we throw a sinker down and away. We get him to chase. Like Lester's a really weird pitcher. It's just like you really throw off your opponent's timing. It's just like all the pitches have different movement in and out. The speeds are all different on all of his pitches. He's just one of those guys that, you know, keeps your opponents guessing. He kind of reminds me of a left-handed Johnny Cueto. It's kind of a weird combination, but Cueto has just a little bit of movement on all of his pitches, in and out. You know, you can pitch horizontally, you can pitch vertically. Take advantage of so many, you know, angles and arm slots, and each pitch feeds off one another. I really like Jon Lester as a lefty. I really think his life series is vastly underrated in the game as well. But here we're facing Rizzo. We go to a sinker down and in on the hands, get him to pop out into the shift. So Lester's effective against lefties as well. Most people will stack against righties, but here's a few clips against lefties. Here's Yogi Bear. We get to a full count. I think it's a full count, and we get him looking on the sweeping curve. That sweeping curve can get people looking, guys, like I said, but you don't want to throw it too often. And this one final sequence I do want to show you guys. I feel like this kind of wraps up Lester in a nutshell. We start him off with a cutter inside, get him off the plate. We decide to come right back with that sinker. Since we just got him off the plate a little bit, get him looking there for strike one. And then I go ahead and throw that fastball high and away. I've been throwing that a lot that game. I threw my opponent a lot of curveballs, so this pitch was working really well. Remember keeping those pitches from the same arm slot. Finally, we got to a 1-2 count, and I decided to go ahead and throw a cutter on the outer half. Haven't shown him this pitch too much, and we get him looking at a beautiful pitch. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this flashback Lester review. Make sure to like and sub. This is Car number 5 signing out. Peace.